we're here at Ali Pali, obviously the Masters has gone on, and we're going to speak to Mark Allen and all topics including his technique, his weight loss, how has that helped his game, and obviously the state of snooker at the moment. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. Mark Allen, the Pistol, welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me.
You want to break off?
Okay.
It's a bit dark, unfortunately. There's no light in here. I'll get my excuse out ready.
Snowing yesterday and the sun's shining today. It's great.
So let me ask you, where did the nickname Pistol come from?
Honestly, I get asked this so much. It's
really?
nothing to do with being from Northern Ireland or anything, nothing like that. It's just, there's a guy in the club whenever we were all young.
Right.
And he gave all of us young boys nicknames and mine just stuck. It was something silly that he done. Oh, what a shot that is.
Thanks very much for coming.
Thanks for coming, yeah. Yeah, nothing in it.
Right.
I lived in a place called Castle Park at the time, so he called me the Castle Park Pistol.
Really?
And they just stuck, yeah.
What age did you start?
12, quite a late starter.
Well, that's the same as me.
You started at 12 as well? Yeah. I played a lot of football when I was younger.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And then my dad played a lot of snooker, local leagues and stuff, and he started taking me and my brother once a week, and I just really enjoyed it from like shot one.
Your brother any good?
I was useless. No, my brother's not very good. He'd tell you that himself. But yeah, I just really picked it up quickly. Sort of first 6 months was all a learning curve, and then I made my first century after about 9 months of playing.
Really?
And loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it. And then I had to sort of make a decision when I was like 14, 15.
Right.
Whether I was going to like pursue snooker or football, and all the football matches were obviously Saturday mornings, and all the junior snooker tournaments were Saturday mornings. So I had to make a decision, and I still don't really know why I picked snooker, because I was probably better at football at that.
What position were you?
I would have played left wing mainly, but I would have played anywhere. I went to Paris to play in a football tournament when I was 12.
Really?
And one of the main defenders got injured, and I played centre back. And I was tiny, but I would have put myself about everywhere. So yeah, I just love playing football. But yeah, like I say, no idea why I picked snooker, but it's obviously worked out all right.
It's worked out all right. Yeah. Did you have, obviously Northern Ireland's a lot of famous players down the years. Did you have any with like Dennis or Alex? So I suppose they moved to the UK, didn't they, probably, when you were playing?
To be honest, they were like well before my time, but I obviously understood the history of what they'd done for the game. My sort of meetings with Alex over the years were never great, if I'm honest. Like a couple of times I met doing exhibitions, and he was never really the nicest. And
I know from experience with Alex as well, would he have it was a bit of a chip because you were obviously the new Northern Ireland star, and he was sort of like the...
Maybe, but I think even some of the meetings we had were before I got recognised, so he'd no real need to feel that way towards me. So I don't really know. It's just, I've heard a lot of good stories about Alex, but my own personal meetings with him were never really great.
Right.
I remember getting a phone call, well, not me personally, but my parents got a phone call at like 3 in the morning one time. Because there was an article done, they were trying to raise sponsorship for me when I was only maybe 15 or 16. Yeah. And there was like, he might follow in the footsteps of like greats like Alex Higgins and Dennis Taylor, and he obviously thought he was due money because his name was mentioned in the article. So our house phone went at like 3 in the morning, and he was quite cheeky to my mum on the phone, and that's always stuck with me. See, when you do these videos, do you ever give the other person a shot, or you just always want to try and clear the table? I can't honestly. This is not a normal. It's good to watch. It makes my job a lot easier, just picking the balls out. It's nice to watch this.
I mean, I am fresh off the victory, a major victory.
I've seen that. Congratulations on that. By the way. Yeah, you were due one, to be fair, in the seniors. I'll give you that.
I mean, I honestly don't know what's happening here. There's like
hitting them sweet. How'd you find that seniors, to be honest? Because it looks like a really good event.
It was actually good because I think the shot clock, because when I'm playing the qualifiers, there's loads of things going through my head about technique and who I'm playing and being at the venues and all sorts of rubbish that goes on in your head if you're not. But that with the shot clock, you had no time to think about any rubbish. So it was just
that for me seems really like weird, because you, given what you've done in the game, I would imagine you'd have been very good in your pump at like just blocking all that out.
I was in my pump, not anymore.
Why has it changed?
It's just obviously when I retired, my game was shot, and it's just it's just loads of nonsense basically.
Okay. And is that coming from maybe a lack of practice or what?
I think definitely I definitely not practicing and the right side kind of practice. I think probably I'd be better practicing more with players.
What do you do?
Just on my own for a couple of hours, but like maybe the week before I play a qualifier. just sort of pinching time here and there when I'm not golfing.
And do you think any part of that is coming from like maybe you feel like you don't deserve to be doing better if you're not practicing like you used to?
Yeah, I think so.
I know for me, like if I take a day off, I feel guilty.
Yeah. You'd always have that if you got to a tournament and you hadn't prepared properly and you lost. I mean, obviously you had dealings with Ian Doyle as well, but if he knew I hadn't practiced and I lost, Monday morning after the tournament when I went back, I knew I was getting it.
Yeah.
You hadn't prepared properly and you hadn't. So not only the guilt from my own thing, but I knew I was going to get in trouble from the headmaster if I hadn't done.
That's pretty much what it was.
What I should have done, yeah.
I wish I could see. I don't know if that goes or not.
You're quite a big practicer, aren't you?
Yeah, I need to. Like I had 6 days off over Christmas there. Honestly feels like I'm starting again when I come back. And that's just with 6 days off. I need to be playing all the time.
Okay.
Not too proud to admit that. So.
And is that solo or is it with someone or is it a bit of both?
I try and mix it up. Whenever I'm first back after a break, I try and do a bit more on my own.
Right.
Like I started back there after Christmas break and I played young Robbie, who I was obviously trying to make it on tour.
Yeah.
I lost 6-1 the first set. I'm 4-0 down the second set and I can't make 30.
Really?
And I actually had to say to him, there's actually no point in us playing because I can't give you a game right now.
Right.
And he's not even on the tour, and that's
so you went that
feel.
rusty.
But once I get like a full day and a half on my own, like just seeing the ball get in and just feeling the action come back, then I feel fine. But that first day is always a real struggle. Like I could make you look unbelievably good and make myself look unbelievably bad. It's not a lot of fun. And I'm the same at a tournament.
I'm watching your technique there. Is that changed through the years, or
it's probably got a little longer? I know that'll make you laugh because everyone says I'm so short, but I've probably got a little longer. And part of that's come from.
Were you coached that way in the beginning, or was that just the way you naturally played?
Just the way I played. If I could go back to like when I started at 12, I'd probably go more conventional.
Right.
One of the chats myself and Griffiths had like years ago was about possibly changing.
Right.
Just to try and get a bit more consistency because I'm so reliant on my wrist.
Yeah.
I think I struggle a little bit for consistency that way. So as the years have went on, I think just a bit of maturity. I've got a little longer and a little slower. Okay. And I think that has given me a bit more consistency. Which is good. Do you think in the long game especially, or right? Yeah, definitely. But I think even in and around the balls, it might look short and flicky to most people, but it's still longer to me.
Really?
Yeah. And I spoke to Sean about this yesterday. We'd done a piece and he couldn't believe it when I said I felt long, and he just burst out laughing.
Yeah, because I seen you the other day when I was doing an interview with Luca, and you were playing long shots, and I thought you'd gone a bit longer when I'd watched you, and I thought you'd gone back to being shorter.
Okay.
You looked.
Yeah.
Your
well, there you go then. It could be a bit.
So sorry I said that. Maybe I'm not.
You're just messing with me now. No, genuinely, I feel like I hit the ball better when I'm a little smoother.
Yeah.
Over distance. Give myself a bit more time to deliver the cue.
Right.
But I do think I sacrifice a little bit of power by doing that. But if I'm a bit more accurate, then I don't mind, because how often do you really need that massive deep screw shot?
Exactly.
And I still feel like when it comes up, I'm not saying I'm the best in the world at it, but
the tables are so good you can
exactly. So I feel like you're going to need that long deep screw once a match if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And I've got it if I need it.
What we all sort of praise you for is like the cue ball control is phenomenal. Is that something that you always had, or is it just like hours and hours on it? Because I got it from hours and hours on my own practicing.
Honestly,
I think you have it to a certain extent in you.
Yeah, and it's just
the feel.
I sort of pride myself in it that it's not something I've ever thought. Right, I'm going to get really close to that next shot. It's just I just see it as simple. If I could be there on a black instead of being here, that just makes the game a bit easier. So I've always tried to do that, but it's never.
But not every player thinks like that.
No, because I remember like Fergal used to come up and practice with me a lot. And Fergal said to me one day, he says, "There's the white mark." He says, "If you're going into the pack off the black, where would you want to be?" So I have to put it exactly where I want. Yeah. And he sort of stood back a little bit, and I'm like, "Fergal, what are you thinking?" Because obviously he goes deep, doesn't he? Yeah. And he was like, "Well, I just want to be like here." And I'm going, "Well, if you're there instead of there, you can't really miss that black from there. But if you're there, you can miss that maybe 1 in 10." Yeah. So why give yourself that risk?
Robertson was the same. Robertson's
I just don't understand it. For me, that just seems such a simple thing to say and explain. Yeah. He was like mind blown.
Well, I think that's the difference between like a professional attitude and almost an amateur type attitude to me. I mean, that sounds quite harsh.
It's a bit baffling, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. because I remember speaking to Robertson about his break building, and he used to say, well, I just used to pot the red and play to be on the black somewhere.
Aye.
I said, well, sure, you've got to try and get the right angle in the black for the next red.
Yeah.
But he was like, I mean, people said that.
I'll give you a funny one. I played with Jared Green in the World Cup for Northern Ireland. It was alternate shot in the doubles.
Yeah, I'm good at doubles.
So I've got a red just like there, just roll it through. And I've said to him, where would you want to be on the black, high or low? Because I've had the angle to do both.
And he said whatever or something.
I never really think about something like that. He says, I just try and leave myself anywhere on the black and then I'll work it out. And that's the sort of, I'm like, no, is he winding me up? But he genuinely wasn't.
Right.
That's such a simple thing, I think, and people just weren't thinking about it.
I don't know, it just makes you think, how do players how do they ever think they're going to get any better if that's the way they think?
Exactly, but it made it fun for me, it's definitely fun. But going back to your question though, I've never really had any mad thoughts about this, I want to get closer. I've always prided myself on give a good cue ball. There's a couple of routines that I would actually do to try and keep close control.
Right, okay.
There's one that I would give myself maybe 3 lives, and if I'm not within a certain distance from the next ball, well, it'll be 12 inches, 18 inches, whatever I give myself on any given day, then I have to start again. Give myself 3 lives to try and complete a 15-ball routine.
Oh God, that was a good hit. I completely changed my mind in the middle of that shot there.
How much of that, because I've seen you using the John Paris cue instead of the you did have an accurate cue before.
Yeah.
Is that throwing a lot more?
This is different with not Miles. Oh, great shot. Oh, what a shot that was. Yeah, because the accurate cue wasn't really, it didn't do what the accurate cues are supposed to do really for me. I went the way where it didn't deflect at all really. So, but this one's such.
Because I've seen it's a brass as well, and it's going to throw, isn't it?
It's a lot stronger, this cue. It's allowing me to play with some quite power shots that I didn't used to be able to do. Let's set them up.
Yeah.
So are you working with a coach at the moment, or?
To be honest, I've dipped in and out of a few different things. Like this season, I've actually I tried a session with Steve Feeney. I had a session with Lee Walker. And there's a coach back home that I would speak to sometimes, Marty Bramwell. I've had a chat with him about things as well. And honestly, I feel like sometimes I search for something that's not there. Just trying to find that extra % or two. And I tinker a little bit, and sometimes playing on my own too much can really lead to me getting in my own way. It's
a double-edged sword, I think, as coaches. I mean, there's coaches that have helped me, like Frank Callan in the beginning helped me with, definitely my long game wasn't as consistent as I wanted it. And he introduced the pause at the backswing. And that sort of, I don't know a lot about technical stuff. He said it's getting your eyes back on the ball, so I became a much more consistent long potter.
So see, with that pause, if you never had that pause before, Frank Callan, did it take a while to really trust that you've got that pause and then you can deliver? Because I feel like for me, I'd try to go a little longer and a little slower. That leads to a slight pause at the back for me. But then sometimes I think, is it too long, and then I'm not sure when to deliver? I
mean, you talk about Terry Griffiths. You were saying that he made it a little bit longer. He actually wanted to make me shorter, which did, because I felt like I was decelling and everything. And it was horrible. You call it a yips or whatever, and I just wasn't going through. So he tried to take that out of it was by gripping a bit tighter and being shorter. But then what I was thinking is, like, where's the cutoff on the distance of shot? Where you're short, it's like, so you got here, so that's easy to be short around the pink and black, but then you've got, say, a mid-distance. Do you still short, or you're a little bit longer, and it's
all guesswork, isn't it, at that stage? See, I feel like my weakest point is my alignment. We're all going to deliver differently, and you may not deliver perfectly every time, but my alignment's been pretty poor, I think, from day one. I think my eyesight's not the best, so I think that's part of the reason why I went to Steve Feeney, to see if anything was wrong there, and I was quite a bit out, and I don't know how much of that came from how much weight I'd lost and how much different,
Well, he said the same about me. He said when I was playing in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, obviously I was very, very skinny. And so you get down, and now, obviously, I put on a bit of timber, your body's not the same, so you're not dropping on the line. So, I mean, well,
I had it you imagine you were my target. As I got bigger and bigger over the years, I had to twist my body out of the way from a cue to be on the same line. And then when I lost the weight, just out of habit, I was still standing like this. But I was thinner, so there was actually a gap between my cue and my body. Which is cardinal sin, isn't it, in snooker? So it took me a long time to really trust, trying to stand more square.
Yeah.
So going to Steve Feeney and Lee, they actually got me standing more square on, looking directly at the shot, which sounds so simple, but something I hadn't obviously been doing in the last year or so, which it actually makes what I done on the table last year a bit more amazing, because I probably wasn't even standing in the right place.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
I think that's probably where part of the uncertainty and the lack of confidence came from. Even though I was winning, I didn't feel like I'm actually not bothering with this, Stephen. So
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's amazing though when you start doing that sight right stuff. I found that the easiest of shots catch you out.
Yeah.
You think, how have I missed that? But obviously you were like just standing way off line.
Where I would like, obviously, you know, the sort of routines that Steve does, and the left to rights and the right to lefts. Like if I stood here trying to pot that black, it now looks like I'm going to hit about here.
Yeah.
But they're going in.
I'm the same this side because I'm right-handed.
It's really weird to try and trust that, especially if you go out and play in a match and you're thinking, right, I have to aim over here.
Yeah.
And people think you're crazy at the black of the spot, but that's how far out I obviously was.
Yeah. Because you missed. I watched. There was one of the ITV tournaments you were and you missed a couple of like really easy pinks to the middle, so that was as a left to right.
Yeah.
So I thought, but I didn't say anything on camera, but I felt saying he's just been caught out there.
It just takes a while to trust that line. It looks so different to me now down on certain shots, and it's weird because some people would have like a preference right to left, left to right, and what they struggle with the most. Whereas I think I was out on both sides, which is never good. Normally you have a go-to that you can rely on, but I just didn't there for a while. So
when you obviously made the decision to lose all the weight, was that for both your snooker and basically your health and everything?
It was mainly for health reasons,
right.
But I obviously knew that it was probably going to have a good effect on my snooker. There's no guarantee that was going to come, but honestly, as long as I felt better in myself, I felt like that was going to help my snooker regardless of whether the actual weight loss would. I just wasn't in a good place with how I was feeling, like waking up every morning I felt tired, and even playing snooker, because I was, before all the criticism came and stuff and I slowed down and went negative.
I'm going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I was pretty quick, but I honestly felt it in my breathing, and I felt like I was playing shots and I was out of breath.
Really?
Yeah, which is never good.
Right.
So I needed to change it purely from a health perspective. I wasn't in good shape at all. And I still feel like I can lose a bit more weight now. But
really?
Yeah. I'd love to lose another stone, just get rid of the belly a little bit. With a bit of work in the gym.
Tell me the secret.
Yeah, don't eat, don't have any fun.
That's it, yeah.
Don't have any
Stop
fun.
putting a fork in your mouth. Yeah, that's probably the first thing.
Pretty much. But yeah, I'd love to lose another stone, I would say. But even if I don't, I'm still happy. Yeah.
I mean, you brought it up, so.
I only brought it up because I knew you were going to.
Well, I was going to ask you. So, but I mean, when I first seen you the way you were playing, I was just like, wow, what's going on here? But then I had to stop myself from criticising because you were winning trophies. Okay. Because you can't. How can you criticise someone who's winning trophies for the way? But it was just
you did, didn't you?
Well, I did. I did. I just didn't think it was your natural game, and it was like there was shots where you were walking around the table when the shot was obvious. Okay. But you were walking around the table too straight, and I thought, what's?
Whether you believe it or not, honestly, it all come from just a pure lack of confidence. Was
it really?
It wasn't anything that I chose to do.
It wasn't a deliberate thing?
No,
right?
absolutely not. I just genuinely felt uncomfortable with what I was doing on the table.
Right, okay.
And I felt like giving myself an extra couple of seconds just helped me just pot the balls at the end of the day. Even certain shots I'm down on the shot, and I know in my head I'm down on it too long. Right. But I just wasn't prepared to play the shot until I was ready.
Right, okay.
And rather than getting back up and going back down again, I just give myself an extra few feathers on the shot. So I can understand why it looked that way, but it was never ever intentional.
Because the game that springs to mind was the one against Lazowski.
Okay.
And one of the ITV tournaments, and it looked like, to me, like it was a conscious effort to break up the rhythm of the game against him. That's how it looked to me from the outside.
Again, honestly, it wasn't. Yeah. It might have looked that way, but for me, it wasn't. I just thought that was my best.
Because it definitely got to him.
Yeah, and I think that says more about Jack than it says about me. I just felt that I had to find a way to win, whether that was pretty or ugly, whatever it may be.
But at the end of the day, you know you've got a game you can fall back on. Yeah, it's going to do the business if you're not. It's not your normal flowing game.
It's not the way I want to play.
Yeah,
I don't want to be seen as being negative. Granted, like you've just said, it's ultimately about winning trophies, and I won I think 5 in the space of 14 months doing that. So.
Well, you're player of the season. So as I say, I've criticised, but I mean it's completely wrong to criticise someone who's the player of the season.
But it's close. Yeah, it's just one of them things. It generally wasn't a plan. It's just how I felt.
Yeah.
Like you see there, the champion of champions, first match against Jimmy was probably a little bit like that. It was just edgy in the first round. I don't want to get into it. But after that,
well, the final you're back to like the old,
Yeah, but that wasn't a conscious decision. That was just, I felt better.
Right,
I felt more confident. So that's why I played like that. So, like, if you see me playing here, I'll not start thinking I'm going to be negative. I'll not start thinking I'm going to run around the table. It's just how I feel on any given day. If I feel good in myself, then I'm probably going to get on with it a bit more.
Yeah. Which it makes perfect sense. If you're not feeling good, like give yourself extra little bit.
Yeah, and that's honestly all it was.
But qualifying that, I always think every player, there's not a player in the game that doesn't benefit from upping their speed a little bit.
Yeah,
to make them play better.
I do agree. You see the amount of players that are notoriously very, very slow, and then they go into the shootout, and you're seeing them run around the table and potting balls, and you think, well, why can't they do that week in, week out?
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's just a confidence thing.
Right.
Even in the club, people would say to me, "Oh, it's good to see you running around the table," but that's generally coming from, I feel good, so I'm going to get on with it.
Right.
And if I'm not feeling good, I'm going to give myself a bit more time. Because there's no guarantee that you can, like that. People talk about that Jack match in the UK.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee me being a little slower and potentially getting him at it had any bearing on the result.
Yeah.
Unless he thinks it might.
Yeah.
So that's more on him.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, whether you're really easy on the eye or not, people are only going to remember who win tournaments.
Listen, it's sport at the end of the day, and you're there to win. And who cares what the pundits say? You're picking up the trophy at the end of the day. Who cares?
Don't get me wrong. I'd love every pundit to speak well of me at all times. But
to be fair, we usually do. And I think that was a surprise for the way you're playing, because we were so used to praising you because you were an attacking player, break build and everything, and then you sort of like, to us it looked like you turned into this really deliberate. Obviously again, it's probably confidence. You were turning down a lot of shots.
That's just purely from confidence.
Yeah,
purely from confidence. There's no other reason for it.
Yeah.
I'm as good as you at doubles, by the way.
Oh, no, you can't be as bad as me.
I'd love to sort of play the way I did when I was 18, 19 and trusting that I was going to get every long ball I looked at. And it's just not like that for me at the minute. But the thing that's actually really opened my eyes is that you don't have to play well to win tournaments.
No.
You don't, and I'd love to. I'd love to play well every week. It makes it easier.
I mean, the amount of tournaments,
more enjoyable, but you don't have to play well. You just need to try and play the right shots and hang in there as much as you can.
You just want to be there come Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do to get there. Because the amount of times I didn't play well through tournaments, but then you get to, like Ron in the UK.
Aye.
He could have and should have lost 2 or 3 matches on the way to the final, but then he gets to the final and all of a sudden he finds
what he needs to. Yeah, absolutely. And that's sort of what I feel in myself. If I can get to that later stages, I feel like then I can free myself up a little bit and just play the shots.
Is there anything that you think is needed? Obviously you've won 2 of the 3 Triple Crowns, you've not won the world. Is there anything you need in your game to improve to win the world, or is it just hitting that form at the right time?
I think you need to hit form at the right time. You need a bit of luck along the way as well. In 17 days, so things aren't going to go perfectly for you. I think the big thing for me was this year I obviously lost 17-15 in the semis. It's the closest I've got.
Yeah.
But I still felt I'd played very poorly.
Right.
So I think that gives me a lot of confidence.
Right.
That I can get to that stage and getting very close to that final, not playing anywhere near my best. I had 1 good session against Bingham, and that was pretty much it. So
the 3 tournaments you won, you don't think you were anywhere near your best winning them then? Although you won 3 tournaments.
Last season?
Yeah.
I would say the best.
So that must give you confidence in itself.
Absolutely. Now there was obviously in any given match or tournament.
I've gone granite.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's playing me, it does that too. Like the UK, when I won it, I started slowly in every match, and I think I was 2 frames at least behind in every single game. But I actually played really good snooker to come back, and people probably forget that a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually played really good snooker to come back in every single match, and even in the final. From when I got to like 6-3 against Ding in that final, I really found some form, and actually I completely outplayed Ding then at the end.
Yeah.
No, I won 9 of the last 10 frames. I don't think many people can do that if you're just relying on your B game all the time. But I think the Champ of Champs is probably the best I've played so far.
Yeah.
To beat Judd 10-3, considering what he'd been doing in recent months.
Would that be, in your career of wins, would that come down as one of your best then, one of the best performances?
I think given the circumstances of how like my season had went, how his was going, obviously he's the form player of the year. You know, he'd won 3 tournaments in a row, I think, at that stage. I think all those things considered, it's by far my best performance for quite some time. Because I didn't really make many mistakes in that final. To beat Judd 10-3, any win against Judd at the minute's really good because he's obviously the form player, but to beat him 10-3, I think it vindicated all the work that I've been doing on the practice table and some of the changes that I had made.
Right.
And like I said, it's about confidence for me. If I played well against John, I played well against Ali, and then get into that match with Judd, I was actually really happy with where my game was, so I felt like just go out and play.
Yeah.
Whereas in matches in the past, I'm having to find my feet in a match and then work my way into it, and it's never really as enjoyable.
Another thing I would say, you've never been afraid to speak your mind, have you?
No.
One of my favourite things of all time when you walked in the press conference with the tape on your mouth.
I was in the dressing room with Griffiths when I done that, and he was like, "Mark, please don't." And I was like, "Terry, I'm sorry."
I can just see Terry.
He was like, "Please don't do it," and I was like, "I have to." But I got a lot of coverage. I remember Barry actually rang me the next day because people think that me and Barry don't get on.
Right.
And he rang me the very next day. He went, "I love this." He says, "Say more, say this, say that." And I'm like, "Well, if you pay my fines, I'll say whatever you want me to say." But he's like, "Oh, we can't go that far." But he says, "I love it." Because he is genuinely one of those people that thinks any publicity is good publicity. Yeah. He is one of them guys. But
and are you on the board now?
No.
No. Any ambitions to be like?
No. No. I think. Don't know how much I should say on this, but
you can say anything. We can always cut it out.
I genuinely believe that no matter who's on that board, things aren't going to change. Yeah. I don't think they have enough power on the players board. Yeah. I know Matt was obviously a good friend of yours who's gone, and I voted for him. I think he's our only hope, even though that there are other ones on it. I think he's very opinionated. Yes. But he's quite articulate. Yeah. He speaks well. He's very clever. Yeah. Very clever. So I think if he can't get any change done from the inside, then I don't think we've got any chance. But I think it might take something a bit more drastic than that.
And what's your opinion on? Obviously, they've been able to play in other events in Macau and all these. As your shot, as you put them back.
And do you want to set them up for something? Or?
I tell you what, the black ball. We'll say I won the first frame, you won the second frame. Just quickly before you answer, respotted black. Do you put the other guy in?
No.
That's what I mean. It's such an easy shot, right?
Aye, but I think more and more are taking it now. Yeah. But I'll always play I'll always let them play the first shot.
Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, you're okay. With regards to like Mackay and that. It would be great if we got to a scenario where the players could play on whatever they want. I understand now. I had a good meeting with like WST board and that at the UK Champs, and they did sort of open my eyes to some of the reasoning behind certain decisions. But not saying I agree with them. But
I kind of understand both sides of it.
But I do understand it. But what I try and say is like, there's some players that were offered a chance to go to Mackay and getting maybe 100 grand for turning out. And there's a tournament in Belfast, which is obviously my favourite tournament of the year. But it's 80 grand to the winner. Yeah. So like, you do the math. Like, why would you go to Belfast if you're getting offered? So World Snooker have to, in my opinion, make these events more appealing. Yeah. Because if there's 150 grand for the winner of Belfast, people probably don't even contemplate Mackay. Yeah. So I think there's a bit of, wiggle room that World Snooker can do better as well. Yeah, yeah. But I understand the reasoning behind it. Just because I'm playing you, I'm going to actually go for this.
You saying that match you turn that down?
Yeah, such an easy safety. I would never go for that in a match.
Well played. Great shot.
Thank you.